Developing metacognition is often presented as a simple skill, but in practice, it is unusually difficult for most people. The difficulty lies not in understanding the concept, but in what it demands psychologically. Metacognition requires a person to step outside their immediate experience, and that step runs against deeply ingrained habits of mind. Human thinking is naturally fast, automatic, and emotionally driven. Most of the time, thoughts and reactions arise without deliberate choice, shaped by past experiences, biases, and desires. To become metacognitive, a person has to interrupt this flow and observe it. That interruption can feel unnatural and even uncomfortable, because it creates distance from impulses that usually feel like part of one's identity. Instead of simply being angry, afraid, or excited, one must notice the feeling and question it. This can feel like weakening something that normally provides certainty and direction. Another major challenge is that metacognition often requires giving up immediate desires. Many thoughts are tied to what we want to believe or feel in the moment. For example, when someone criticizes us, the immediate desire is to defend ourselves or dismiss the criticism. Metacognition asks us to pause and consider whether the criticism might be valid. This creates internal conflict. It means tolerating discomfort, uncertainty, and sometimes the possibility of being wrong. Most people are not trained to sit with that kind of tension, so they default to quicker, emotionally satisfying reactions. There is also the issue of attention. Metacognition depends on sustained awareness, but modern environments constantly fragment attention. People are used to reacting quickly and moving on, not observing their thoughts in detail. Developing the ability to notice subtle shifts in thinking requires deliberate practice, often through techniques like meditation. Meditation itself is difficult because it exposes how restless and uncontrolled the mind actually is. When people try to sit quietly and observe their thoughts, they often encounter distraction, boredom, or frustration. This discourages continued practice, even though it is precisely this struggle that builds metacognitive ability. Habits formed over years or decades further complicate the process. Automatic patterns of thinking become deeply ingrained, and they operate below conscious awareness. Metacognition requires bringing these patterns into view, which can feel destabilizing. It may challenge long-held beliefs about oneself and the world. As a result, there can be resistance, both conscious and unconscious, to developing this skill. Finally, there is a subtle paradox. Metacognition cannot be forced in the same way as other skills. Effort alone is not enough. It requires a kind of relaxed awareness, where one observes thoughts without immediately trying to control or judge them. This balance is difficult to achieve. Too much effort leads to frustration, while too little leads to drifting back into automatic thinking. For these reasons, developing metacognition is less like acquiring a simple technique and more like reshaping one's relationship with the mind. It asks for patience, discipline, and a willingness to face discomfort. Most people find it difficult not because it is obscure, but because it challenges habits and desires that feel fundamental to how they function.